But Rob, Kevin Durant was talking. He was on the Logan Paul's podcast called Impulsive, like impulsive. And he was asked, who was the big three in the NBA? Now, I wonder if Logan Paul asked the question. I don't know who did ask it, but if it was Logan Paul, did he really, it was his call, did they know what they were talking about? They say who's the big three in the NBA, Rob G? Because usually a team will have a big three.
Yeah, in the sound.
Not a league.
I believe you'll hear the question in the sound here. However, full context in the conversation, it's Logan Paul, his co-host, and a social media influencer by the name of Speed or something like that. And they're talking to the influencer, and he says, yeah, I'm part of kind of like the big three when it comes to streaming. It's me and these two other guys.
Okay.
And then that's when the co says, hey, well, KD, who's the big three of the NBA right now? Here was his answer. Take a listen.
Okay, that's cool.
Who's the big three in the NBA right now in your eyes? Don't just say just big me. Is that what you're going to say?
No, hell no. I mean, if you would look at it, you could say LeBron, Steph, myself. The NBA is different, bro. Ain't no big threes.
Right.
It's like a big 30.
So that straightens it out. I mean, that's logical, right? You're talking about a big three of this or that, and he says, who's the big three of the NBA? Okay, that's cool. Kevin Durant, I agree that LeBron, Steph, and then to a lesser degree, but still, Kevin Durant are the three giants of this generation. LeBron's just playing so long that he's now in the Steph generation as well. But they would be the three giants of this generation. So from that perspective, I give it to Kevin Durant. But if there was a big three, if you had to name, I mean, just the three best players, I think there is a clear big three in the NBA. And right now, it would be Nikola Jokic, Luka Doncic, and Giannis Antetokounmpo. I think that would be the big three if there was such a thing, Rob.
100%. And this is the total disregard of international players and acting like they haven't done anything and they don't rate or whatever. It doesn't make any sense. The Joker's won 3 of the last 4 MVPs, Chris. Hello?
Well, yeah, you're right. And the three guys we named, and Luka hadn't even won one, but they've won 5 of the last 6.
Right. I mean, like you
Durant hasn't won an MVP since 2014.
I mean, like what? Really? And where is, again, listening to these lame podcasts where can somebody just push back on Kevin Durant and say the Joker's won 3 of the last 4? He doesn't rate? He's not in your top 3 of the big 3? Can we get a little bit of that? Can you work for 5 seconds on a podcast? Can you work for the listener and make you feel like you're listening and you're not just head nodding every time somebody opens their pie hole and just spouts anything out? It's ridiculous. They don't even flinch. We just talked about forget about
Logan Paul
Giannis.
is a boxer.
I get
kinda,
it, but he's
sorta,
got a podcast.
Kind of, sorta. Like, I don't even know if he's a boxer.
But he's asking questions as if they're reporters and they're trying to get information and knowledge. That's my point. If you're going to ask questions, can you please have a follow-up? Can you please make him explain why he believes what he believes? Can you please just throw him a little bit and say, why are you disregarding and disrespecting the international players who have won the last 6 MVPs? Kevin Durant, why?
I do agree with that. And, you know, I think these podcasts, and I'm not even going to put Logan Paul with, you know, the other the Micah Parsons, the, you know, Draymond Greens and the Paul Georges and all those guys, the Kelsey brothers who have their podcasts. You know, I think they do have value, Rob, in that they get the player. Typically, players will really be themselves with Kevin Garnett's certified podcast, things like that. So there's a value in that. But you're right. I mean, imagine how much better it would have been if they had pushed back. Like, wait a minute, Jokic isn't in a big 3.
Wouldn't you love to
Luka,
hear him
who
say,
just got
Chris,
to the finals?
Why?
Where they at? No, it would right, and then explain yourself.
And then if he
'Cause-
says, well, this, that, and the other thing, I might be intrigued to say,
Right.
oh, wow, okay.
Right.
Is that what you think? Okay, so now I understand why you feel the way you feel. I say this all the time, Chris. It's people don't have to agree with your opinion. The one thing that people want is they want to feel like, can you make the argument so at least I know how you got there? Do you know what I mean? Hey,
Right.
I value this over that. When I look at it, winning doesn't matter. Chris, you talk about it all the time. Winning the finals MVP isn't a big deal to you, so it doesn't affect, the way you look at people. I look at it a little
Right.
different, right? But you
But
use
we can
that.
both explain our vantage point.
Right. What you look for and what matters to you. And then you could I've had people say, I totally disagree with you on your take, but I understand how you got there. You explained it to me, and I understand why you think the way you do. I just don't agree with it. And I think
Right.
that's what you're looking for. That's it. It's not about a right or a wrong opinion. Kevin Durant, that's his opinion. But if it would just be better for all of us if he could just explain it a little bit more and dig and give me insight why he's
I totally
abandoned all the international players who won
Because
all
he
the
didn't
MVP.
even name. I mean, if you listen to we only played a little bit of it, but as he goes on, he says everybody, he goes. We heard him say there's a big three. There's no big threes. It's like a big 30. Well, no, it's not a big 30.
There's not a big 30, right?
But everybody got their own brands. But the three oldest that's still playing at a high level is me, LeBron, and Steph. Then he throws in Kawhi and Paul George. There's a lot of guys, bro. You can't just put three in there. Like, he's basically kind of nullifying. He gives an answer and then kind of nullifies it, kind of backs up from it. And so that's where, like you said, we do on this show, especially you. Well, no, you got to give us a three. Give us a three.
Right.
And okay, that's your three. Why? And so that's why I agree with him when he said the guys that have been playing for the longest, the three oldest guys that are still at a high level. And he can be in that group because LeBron, and Steph are all putting up essentially the same numbers they've put up throughout their careers. So there's no question about that. But if somebody wants to say LeBron and Steph are still a part of the quote unquote big three of the league, you can make an argument for that because they're both, they're still two of the biggest draws in the league. They're two of the most popular players in the league. I would not put KD in that group with them. If we're basing it on like kind of relevance in the league now. People still are wondering, will LeBron find a way to get another one? Will Steph find a way to get another one? They're not most likely, but people are still wondering that. I don't know that people are wondering that about KD. I mean, you said it a while ago that he's kind of NBA dead.
He is, Chris.
He's just not as, like, those two, they're more relevant than KD at this point.
Yep. And KD had a great season last year.
Yeah.
I don't know. So
Well, I think it's because they've won more than him. I think that it just boils down to that those two have, in addition to being synonymous with, their individual brilliance in this generation, right? They've won 4 rings each. That's great. KD's got his 2, which is great, but it's not like those guys. And their winning has spanned. I mean, LeBron's won from 2012 to 2020. That's 8 years. Steph's won from 2015 to 2022. That's 7 years. KD's winning was 2 years back to back. So I think that's why they're more relevant than him. So